I had a intense year and a lot of emotional stress. It's very hard on me and my family.
We love your film, we love your work, we love what you've done with us.
She's a creative force, she's a genius. She was involved in every aspect of this production, and everything she touched, she made better.
Blake, Rob Simonson said that you have excellent taste in music. I need the playlist, girl.
Go on Spotify. They were like, we need 20 songs. I was like, okay, it's 100. But only because I edited it down. I'm a little much.
I was like, oh, I only have Taylor. Like, I only have her songs on my playlist. And like, wouldn't that be cool if just the whole movie was her? Like, it's like a concert.
Oh my God, jukebox musical. It sold 6 million copies, Colleen Hoover's book. I've been, in anticipation of you coming here, I went on Reddit to see what people are saying about the book. I went on Reddit. You immediately bought this book right, and you wanted to direct it. Why?
And to have a story that's like from a book that's such a big IP that hasn't been done, that hasn't been on screen before, it's such a special event and such a special experience, and it has such high production value. That said, it was like not a big budget. So it was not something where we're like, oh, let's have like the most successful singer of all time, in our film. It was just not something we were considering. But
I mean, a sequel? Colleen says the ball is in your court. You have the right.
Oh, did she say that?
A sequel, I know you're like, don't put the cart before the horse, but...
Justin, I think, naturally owns the rights to that one because it is the sequel. So, yeah, I guess it just depends on if the cast wants to come back and work on a part 2. I can only hope.
This is a movie you should see in theaters. You don't see movies like this anymore, where you get to see like movie stars being born. I mean, this is Isabella's first movie. Like, everybody on this screen.
It's like she's a White Walker.
How cute is that? Just eating.
I still can't believe it even happened.
Same.
Please do not send any hate or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you.
Made in England. It must be for tea time. I love it. I do believe it's hand painted as well. That's why it's like every time I look at it, I say out loud, look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? It is distracting, and I don't know why it has 4, 5, 1, 2, 7. It looks like a rake. It's true. It's true. Anyway, okay, so I think we should talk about Blake Lively, but listen, it's not what you think. Woo, okay, so like, I think, there's a lot of who's right, whose side, who's this, who's that. There's recently been some leaks of some so-called alleged behind the scenes footage of outtakes, B-roll, stuff like that. That was from the movie, and it kind of disproves some of the things Blake Lively was saying, kind of disproves some of the stuff Justin Baldoni was saying. Both of their tellings of the story were off in the lawsuits when compared with what you could see on the tapes, and it ends up, because it's a lawsuit, because in the end, usually somebody wins, somebody loses. It's a lawsuit. It's lawsuit situations. You do kind of end up trying to think of it as a sum out game, like a zero sum or whatever, where it's like this person loses a point, this person gains a point, this one loses credibility, this one gains. These are important things to do whenever you're analyzing a lawsuit, especially if you're trying to wonder what a jury might think or what a judge might think or, opine on something like that. But there's something else I want to talk about that I feel like so far has been a little bit lost in the shuffle, although I do think it has been pretty robustly addressed as well. But this lawsuit case is just kind of letting the public in on something these people in this industry have clearly and obviously known for a very long time. What's the word I'm looking for? The sort of nonchalant, I don't know, the way that these people, the cavalier, I think is the word I'm looking for. And the way that in their own text messages, they are obviously cognizant. And when I say they, I mean all these people in the PR smear machine on both sides. Any participant in the group chats, that's who's they. And when you look at these messages as a whole, you recognize two things. Number one, all of these people were in some ways acutely aware that their messages could get leaked from any and anybody on any side, right? Because how do we know this? If you look at a certain text exchange between Melissa, Nathan, and I believe it was Jen Abel, one of them said, we can't put it in writing what all we can do. Okay, and that ends up being an important question because in all the rigmarole of the he said, she said, this said, that said, red fish, blue fish, whatever of it all, I think it hasn't really been exactly explained how the Hollywood smear machine works. Who exactly did what exactly? I was talking to Ethan the other day about it, y'all. I said it's kind of like a silhouette. Like you can get like a shadow through the screen of how it works. You can kind of see the monster behind the screen, but you can't really see, like, for example, what exactly did Jed Wallace do? What did his company do? Something Reddit, something account takedown, something. Here's 2 quotes, maybe a guy from Hawaii. There's contours. Who exactly planted which stories exactly? There's messages that say, oh, I talked to so-and-so from the Daily this, that. Or, this person talked to her sister and she's going to stand down on the big 4. Okay, that tells me something. Tells me where the head might be or whatever. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not really finding out from any of this exactly how it works. It's like we have to look at all these different allegations and kind of compare them like it's like, the red green VR glasses or something, like at the back of the Tony's Tiger on the cereal box. Remember when they had that fad for a while? It was like punch out 3D glasses on the backs of the cereal boxes, and then it was like those spoons that changed color in the milk. Also, there was like those other things that come to my mind. My grandpa still probably loves these things. They're the, what's it called, seeing eye or something, and it was like spaceships. I don't have that gene. I can't do it. And my grandpa could tell. It was like if Johnny had 11 apple, it was that moment. He'd just be repeating like, you gotta look through it. You gotta look past it. And I'm like, I'm just seeing the speckles, truly. I saw nothing. There was times like over years, I would get like a moment, nothing. Okay. I feel like I'm way worse at those than figuring out the Hollywood smear machine. But like, it's like these things, they just give you impressions, because originally I wanted to make a video about the Hollywood smear machine. I wanted to come on here and tell y'all, look at what they doing. They filing it in court documents. Finally, I was right. My prediction came true. I was really ready to play my prediction back and say, see, look, they're gonna gaslight us. This time next year, they're gonna tell us everybody knows that. No, don't let them gaslight y'all. No, we are in the moment. We are in the transition right now. What, in 15 freaking minutes ago, I'd say 2 or 3 months ago, if you were to say the Hollywood smear machine, people are planting stories to the general average person on the street, the general average Venn diagram overlap to everybody that knows about the Blake Lively case, those people, all them, with 3 weeks ago and right now, probably a whole lot of them would have said that planting stories, the PR lady's getting her sister at the page 6 to write and change stories. That would have been called a conspiracy theory. It would have been called a conspiracy theory. I've been called a conspiracy theorist. You couldn't say the term fake news. I think you might have got your whole freaking Twitter account deleted 3 years ago if you even said so much as hashtag fake news. I'm exaggerating. But I definitely remember not long ago there being a very strong resistance online, in the news, comment sections, like the public square places of sorts. I remember not long ago, you couldn't really say the news was lying to your face, because it's PR people that's just pulling strings. I actually remember saying this about Jeff Raymond and Chloe Mayloss. This would have been like 2021 or something, 22 maybe. I'm a conspiracy theorist for saying that. The news would not do that. Okay, so we are in the transition point right now, and it's not going to be long in the future before they're going to act like everybody always knew that. Nope. I will not be gaslit. My gaslit era has been long over. Anyway, so I thought right now in this moment, at this occasion in history and time, we could time capsule, boop, right here, just a little bit of inventory where we are and what is undisputed here. There's a lot of he said, she said, they said, we said. But there's certain things that are just shameless and undisputed. That the veracity of these messages, for freaking one. Yeah, there's a little tip tap back and forth about, oh, he took off the emoji. He did selective cherry picking, which might end up being a big deal. I don't even mean to minimize it. But no one has said this is fake, photoshopped. I didn't say that. No, people are saying she took my messages improperly off my phone, but the messages haven't been disputed as being real or not. And there's a lot of behavior that is, I believe, shameful on the both sides. undisputed. I will continue and carry on my other channel from time to time to still get into this court case because I like to talk about his side, her side, because I think it's important. The only way in a court case to know how it's going to shake out is if you understand it and dissect it in that way. I think it's important. I think it's valuable. However, there's some undisputed stuff here that is just, we got to talk about it. Okay, so let me pull the web up. And this one is this web. This one is like, I think 4 or 5 times more intricate than the P. Diddy web. And the P. Diddy web is the web that started webs. That's the web. Okay, yeah, so there's this whole Jed Wallace piece to it, y'all, which I've made many videos about this on my other channel, ThatSurpriseWitness. But this Jed Wallace guy, he links into the web on many webs because it seems to me that he is the same Jed Wallace and of the same Street Relations who had Heather Hayes on Bam Margera's recovery team in the Paramount Jackass 4 movie Sober Agreement. We've made videos about that on this channel, many videos about it. It's one of the first videos on this channel. I ever made the second video ever on this channel, Bam Margera and the MTV lawsuit. I believe the MTV lawsuit had a lot to do with why he ultimately ended up getting conserved, why he was ambushed with litigation. I think it has a lot to do with that. It ended up getting settled. So, I mean, I just think that's interesting. It's Jed Wallace of Street Relations. There's a few reasons that I have formed the opinion it's the same one. Don't take my word for it. Make your own opinion up. It's based on public records and speculation and opinion. If you really want to know my thoughts, I've made whole videos about it, but just you know, I want to mark that he's here on this web. I actually had to put him in 2 spots because the web started sprawling, but he is on here 2 times. Okay. Then there's the whole like flip-floppery of the PR. I mean, this woman right here, Stephanie Jones, she was a trusted confidant. This is like, you know, your war team, the PR agency owner, you know, like the one. And she is the one that is the source of the text messages that ended up being not leaked. I mean, it's up for dispute and debate and will have to be sorted out in court, whether it was actually legal and proper for Stephanie Jones to release the text messages to the subpoena in that way. There might have been a contractual agreement between Stephanie Jones and Justin Baldoni. I've seen that before. When you enter into a business contract with somebody, there will be a promise that you're not going to just turn their info over to the police or the feds without at least telling them. You can't tell someone don't turn it over to the police. That would be illegal. This is civil, so this isn't the police. So that adds another layer. But this lady, it's like to think about, I don't know, just to think about the fact that seems acceptable in this industry to do that to somebody that you were their PR publicist and crisis manager for years, the greater part of a decade. And then there's also mention in these lawsuits about lawyers having professional responsibilities and duties to tell the truth. You do, like each, you know, profession that has these, whatever they are, groups, whatever organizations, and you want to be a part of it, like you have to make certain oaths, certain promises. And for lawyers, it's like you have to honor the truth. You cannot lie on the behalf of your client to the media or whatever. That's against the public. It's unbecoming of the profession. It's standards. But somebody pointed out in one of these recent court filings that publicists, crisis managers, PR agents, they don't have professional obligations like that not to lie. And it's like, you know, I don't see a lot of people making a big racket in the media and a scene in the media over that little detail. And maybe it's so buried in there and there's so much other stuff to just talk about. I'm not even saying it's on purpose, but blink and you miss it. Publicists don't have a professional duty to tell the truth to the media. And if you read these people's text messages that have come out, it looks like they all are aware of that and everyone operates accordingly. But I think that creates an unequal bargain with the public, because I would venture to wager that even today, 2025, at least 50%, I might go far as 60% of the average person on the street would believe that the thing the media, the news, that anyone is striving for, a publicist, is to at least technically tell the truth. I would venture to wager like at least half of people think that. And so it's like, if half of people think that, and that's the target. I mean, Blake Lively says she's the target of a media smear campaign.
Reputation, just reputation. That's what I listen to.
Go away.
Justin Baldoni also says he actually is the target of a media smear campaign. And the truth is, probably some ways they both were. I think they both have employed the practitioners, the master practitioners of the dark arts of public relations and crisis management to their employ. Both. But beyond that, there's a bigger target here than Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and the likes of them. We are the target. Me and Ethan were talking earlier about one of the text messages that both of us honestly, speaking for myself, it makes me mad. Something to the tune of, ha 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 ha. There's so many different stories flying to and fro. Nobody's gonna know what to believe. Everyone's so confused. Ha ha ha, it's so funny. I want to do something funny. Freaking, what is this? Thing 2? Me and my brother, we edit funny. It's to manipulate us. You can look at there's like summaries of voice calls and summaries of voice messages that have been filed as public court exhibits now. These call summaries discuss social media manipulation, narrative shifting. It is a service that you can purchase. And it seems to me like both sides are being accused of doing this astroturfing. It's going to be Merriam-Webster's word of the year. Astroturfing is getting added. 2025 is going to be the year. That is actually an excellent symbol for what is happening. The cat is getting out of the bag from the niche underbelly of the people who have been in charge of manipulating us. And actually, when you read their text messages, it's a pathetic shit show. It's like a Britney Spears, Free Britney movement group chat on Twitter circa 2021. These are grown adults, men and women. Some of them's got kids, multiple. Empires depend on them. They are acting like they are in the group chat for the school project for Professor Feeney's volcano science project. You know what I mean? It's just like, ha ha ha, it's so funny. These stupid idiots in the public believe the lies. They believe we're tricking them. We are trying to trick them. And isn't it funny that they're tricked? Ha ha. Melissa Nathan and Jen Abel. Ha ha. They're laughing at us. And, to be completely fair, I've said some things in some privacy of my own private text messages that if it got put out there in the public, I would hope that would be taken into consideration. So I do want to provide a little bit of wiggle room because you should be free to say whatever, talk your shit in your private text messages, but at the same time, it's telling of what she thinks about us. It's funny to trick us. Now, people comment all kinds of crazy things in my comment section, so I haven't checked the veracity, but could be right. They've been saying that this certain laws that have been put into place, literally allowing them to lie to us. Not only disallowing. What exactly are they doing when they get these services? Why, for example, did Jen Abel have to call on Melissa Nathan? Well, one possible answer is Melissa Nathan perhaps also had a lot of experience. They had just lost Stephanie, or they had lost trust in her or whatever. They wanted some backup. Jen Abel was new fledgling, whatever. Maybe it was because Melissa Nathan's sister works at the Page 6 and writes articles based on what Melissa tells her. Maybe it had something to do with that. Why did they need to bring her on? And then when she got brought on, why did that not end it there? Why did they need to bring somebody else on? And then if you look at their text messages, one of the things, like I said, that they were, some of them at least, were very aware of is that these messages could get out because they were talking very cryptically and very kind of a roundabout types of ways in the messages, like this one right here. The other, because it was oh my God. Justin Baldoni sent a Perez Hilton TikTok in the group chat to the PR people. Poor thing. He really didn't know how it works. Maybe he did. Maybe he does now, but he did not at the time. It seems to me. Maybe he's good at playing dumb. I really don't know. But he sends this Perez Hilton TikTok into the group chat, and he's basically like, this ain't us, right? We ain't do this. This isn't part of the social media campaign, right? And Melissa Nathan's like, girl, oh my God, we would never, ever, never. We don't do that. Justin Baldoni's like, or do we do bots? It's like he don't know what he even hired these people to damn do. Something Reddit, something. It's like maybe Justin Baldoni had as little of a clue about this as we do. A big part of this that Blake Lively is saying is that the effects of this campaign were supposed to appear organic and to appear, quote, untraceable. That was supposed to be the point. And so it almost seems like Melissa Nathan was perhaps, I don't know, some people have speculated that she was intentionally keeping Justin Baldoni in the dark and not telling him what they're capable of doing. They use as evidence to support that theory that she did say, imagine if we actually ever wrote down what we are capable of. Imagine if that got put into the wrong hands, if we had that in writing. She said that, allegedly. I mean, she hasn't denied that she said that, or whatever, but that was quoted. That's right before the "We Can Bury Anyone" comes from "We Can Bury Anyone" quote. Right around about that quote, she says, imagine if we wrote down what we are capable of. And then so that led me to start looking into what I don't know, because they're being cryptic. The other team is doing something very specific to what they do. Well, that's ambiguous AF. That could be about Jed Wallace, could be about the man on the freaking moon. What does that mean? And they don't tell you. So I'm looking, I'm like searching around in the dark, like Copernicus or whoever it was, freaking Sir Isaac Newton or whoever it was, looking for Neptune, just in the dark. Is it a black hole? Is it a planet? I don't know. What is the PR smear machine? Why did they need Jed Wallace? What is going on Reddit? So I went to Reddit. I've actually made videos about this because I have a feeling either maybe directly Jed Wallace, but maybe just something similar to this kind of smear campaign has happened to me, specifically with the use of Reddit. Because on a certain Bam Margera Reddit that a lot of people are in, it's been years, like at least 2 years, where you couldn't say anything about me nice. You can't link to my videos. Like, it gets removed immediately. But then across Reddit, even in other forums elsewhere that have nothing to do with that one, if my videos get mentioned or if I get mentioned, it's just like people who are like rabid with hatred, but it's only on Reddit and it appears like a bot army, and it might be real people. I'm not saying it's robots, but it might be robots. But I felt like there's something amiss with like Reddit before, and like being able to get a service, like pay somehow. And it's like, I'm not going to talk about that. That sounds conservatorship or jail. I have no proof, or I didn't. But now things have been coming to light with these allegations being made by Blake Lively. And now I made videos about this, and now there's actually have been Reddit threads that have been allowed to stay up, mentioning, for example, how it's so weird. If you mention Jed Wallace on Reddit, it gets instantly mass downvoted, which was like basically speaking French or Greek or something to me like 3 days ago. What does that mean? What does that mean? If you mention Jed Wallace, it gets mass downvoted. Well, if you've spent a considerable amount of time moderating on Reddit, which I have not, but they apparently know what this means. And now they've started to notice that if you mention Jed Wallace, it appears that a lot of accounts on Reddit press the arrow down to say they don't like the post, to say they don't like that person, to express the discontent of a dislike. But what's being now implied, again, in the contours of this, like feeling around in the dark, is that there's some way that you can purchase that as a service. So that, and I didn't know that this is how it worked, but I had an expert explaining it, a Reddit expert explaining it to me earlier. And the amount of likes that shows up on a Reddit post is actually the result of a subtraction formula of how many likes and dislikes there are. So if there's more arrow ups than arrow downs, it'll look like there's a positive sentiment on the post. 100 arrow ups or whatever, right? 1,000, a million, whatever, a trillion, who knows? If a post is very unpopular or very disliked, it will receive a negative number, scaling or whatever. And that's used as a sort of marker for the public sentiment of that little Reddit board, that community. And some people get into it, and you can't see the individual numbers. You can't see a trillion dislikes, a trillion likes. It only just shows 19 likes. So you really don't know. And in real life, with Bam Margera, even if you're with him or even if you just look at his stories, I mean, the people were wrapped around the freaking out the store, wrapped around the block. People love Bam Margera. They pay him money to sign their stuff. Their first skateboard ever was a Bam. People love Bam in real life.
The cops confiscated with us?
I just throw it, no problem.
And it's like, what the hell is all this rabid hatred just on Reddit? And also his Instagram comments, but I think that's because he doesn't have the sign-ins and they just let the hate stay up and it's just people are hateful. Well, that's what Blake Lively's saying. She's saying this is the seeding. The seeding, AstroTurf is like a fake grass. So you're putting the fake seeds out there to make the fake grass. And the seeding is these Reddit. It's like, oh, look, they hate her on Reddit. In the Bam Margera Reddit, they hate her over there. Oh, and now his family's in on. Now they hate her too or whatever. And it's like the seeding of public sentiment. So that by the time it does get to the New York Times, it does appear like there's all this organic, untraceable hatred for Blake Lively or whatever. Do you know Sarah Nathan wrote an article entitled Bam Says He's Gonna Smoke Crack and Then Die or whatever? Sarah Nathan, Melissa Nathan and Jed Wallace knew each other from working together at Paramount is what I remember. Both of them have worked at Paramount before. Both of them have worked on projects together. Also, Stephanie Jones worked on projects with them before. So they all had prior familiarity with each other. And I wonder, just as a total side note, how much of this I'm going to end up finding out overlaps with things that I have dealt with, because I would have never had the context for like what it really feels like to be the target of something like this, and to think about the fact. I already know, for example, that somebody financed the litigation against me up to at least $100,000. I already know somebody did that. That's public record. That's public record. If you think about somebody did $100,000 against me for that, what else could they have thrown a couple thousand here and there for? And then it's like Jed Wallace of Street Relations Inc. was in the Bam Margera Paramount sober agreement. He was the guy. I believe there's two Jed Wallaces from Street Relations Inc. with connections to the sober industry and connections to Heather Hayes. Perhaps. I guess Jed Wallace could be a popular name, and Street Relations Inc. could be a popular name within the sober industry. Anything is possible. Everything's Aura anyway, you know. I mean to say, like, everything's called Aura. Is that even the same Jed Wallace? You know, I don't know. That's another loose end. It's like, could that be the same Jed Wallace? Well, so I guess my point is, I think it is so much information to take in. And also this is one of those stories, they really are just like everywhere you look, it's getting pushed. It's on the front covers. It's a lot of YouTubers. It's news stories. It's stuff getting leaked from lawyers. It's a lot of filings. You know, it's kind of poised to be a case that people are looking at and watching. And so there's a lot of information coming out at all times. So I'm not even saying, oh, it's being ignored on purpose, but I do just want to say, whether it is or not, I think we gotta take an inventory of what they're just, this is open in our face. They think it's funny to trick us. They operate in an industry where it is possible that your most closest confidants within weeks can turn their back on you, betray you in such a way that they turn over your personal cell phone messages from your personal phone to people, to your enemy, to someone they literally just helped you create a PR strategy against. Stephanie Jones was involved in the PR crisis management of this very issue. And within weeks, she turned around from working for Justin Baldoni, helping him in his fight against Blake Lively, whether it was appropriate or not. You think about how somebody could have... There's a lot of these Lou Taylor types, you know, these boss women babe types. And it's like, how does somebody rise, a woman rise in a male-dominated industry? And if you listen to them say it, it's because they're tough. They are resilient and they had a thick skin themselves, but also they don't take nothing off of nobody. You know, they're a boss or whatever. And it's like, how do you get from nobody knows your name to be in Jeff Bezos's public relations company? And this is your loyalty level. Like, it's unfathomable to me. Like, there seems like there needs to be a certain, and I can tell you, at least some lawyers do have that. Like, this respect for the profession and the respect for, like, we could have to work together later in the future. Obviously, our paths all bump into each other. Like, these people are saying stuff like, I'm never going to work with her again. If you bring her on, I'm quit. Like, that's like, shut up. Who knew about who in the hell was Colleen Hoover other than book talk? Now it's almost a household name, Colleen Hoover, the author of this book. She had previously kind of sided with Blake after being friendly, seemingly, with Justin Baldoni. I mean, Colleen Hoover, the author of this book, she's the one who suggested, according to emails that were filed in court, I don't know, I didn't substantiate them, I wasn't there, but I mean, these emails are filed as exhibits. She's the one who suggested that Justin Baldoni play the abuser role. After Justin Baldoni was already going to be the owner of the film, or co-owner, financier, director, one of the directors, executive produce, and the author of the book that the movie's based on is the one who suggested he also should star in the movie, not only star in it, creating a weird, I cannot imagine how anyone could have played the abuser role and also been the boss, also been the employer, the movie owner.
Well, I first optioned this book in 2019, and at the time it had sold just under 1 million copies. And I had never read it. Yeah. Well, I just started Wayfair Studios, and I was looking for movies that could be commercial and speak to the human experience. And
were you reading romance novels?
And I had never read a romance novel.
Never?
And she said, just trust me, read it. So I read it, and by the end of the book, I couldn't even read the text on the page because I was crying so much. My wife was in bed next to me, and she's, I got snot coming out of my nose. And then I read the reason why Colleen wrote the movie. It was for her mother, who had a real life experience like this. She was Lily Bloom. And I just thought, if this could affect me in this way, then I could only imagine what it could do for women and people who are in this situation all over the world. Because all of us have a situation or a pattern that we need to end the cycle of.
And again, it's important to me, the author suggested him do that. Well, then she ends up kind of seemingly siding with Blake Lively.
To bring to this stage, the one, the only, Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively!
But now, last I heard, she had deleted her whole Instagram presence.
Yeah, I don't. I enjoy social media, and I think that social media is to, a huge part of why my books have taken off the way they have, but I personally have to just disconnect from it.
I mean, I don't mean to discount her. I do know that she's talented and she's a respected author, and I don't want to take that away from her. I know that she's talented. I know she's had accolades, but I'm talking about household name status stuff. Very few authors come from obscurity to book talk to that. And it's a distinguished group, and I think only talented people do make it up there.
When I walked into the bookstore to go to the 8 shelves of the romance section, I realized that Colleen Hoover did not just have a shelf. She had an entire bookcase. It was just a straight up wall of Colleen Hoover. It was a bit menacing.
But the fact that we're all talking about this lawsuit, which is about this movie, which is about this book, the fact that Ryan Reynolds had such a strong role to play in this whole thing, he was the one that's purported to be having been threatening the agent. The agent at WME, Stephanie Jones's husband, is a principal or something at WME. He's like a share, he's like a partner or something over there. He's a big deal over there. All of these tentacles, all of these weaves, they're waving, weaving, and waving. And I think we're only just seeing all of this now because both of them are doing similar stuff. They're both in an industry that has rewarded people like Stephanie Jones. Integrity and ethos, like how she exhibits, has been rewarded. She was Jeff Bezos, Tom Brady, Lauren Squareheaded Sanchez, who we're going to talk about on the next episode.
Because I was going to say, just look at Chloe Malos, and then you started listing all those people.
It's alleged on this, anonymous hit piece site about Stephanie Jones. She's best friends with Chloe Malos. Now, I don't know if that's true. Take it with a grain of salt. It's basically an online anonymous gossip. But what? She's the one that had the exclusive with Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. I mean, it's okay, hold on. I just want to point out that all of a sudden, because they all got caught with their pants down because of these messages coming out, I, for one, am glad they came out. I can understand the horror of being somebody whose messages got leaked. That would be horrible. But all of that to be said, I believe the public now finally, Jesus Christ, deserves. We deserve to know. And beyond a conspiracy and beyond a theory, we deserve these screenshots because a lot of us have literally suffered from saying the obvious. You just have to look a little bit close to see it. But I do understand people's busy. People got stuff going on. Here it is, laid bare. Ha 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 ha. Everybody's so confused. I love it. It's so funny. They think it's funny. And what's this mass downvote thing? Anyway, I'm going to keep looking into it. That's all I have for right now. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, meaning, okay, bye.
Reputation, just reputation. That's what I listen to. Every character's playlist.
I heard you wanted some attention, even though I shouldn't even mention your cruisy name. You're so deranged. I can't blame you. I know your views are tanking. Honestly, you really should be thinking if I'm not calling the cops. Kept my name out your mouth. Asked even how it all turned out when he tried to use my name for clout. Keep on going, give them something they can talk about. Throwing all the good balloons out the window. Didn't know you could stoop so low. Somebody come on my cup. A squirrel is acting up.
DJ investigate, she gonna find the truth. She gonna crack the case here. It's not a lie when it's paperwork. She will expose the truth. Daily updates for you. Better subscribe like I knew you would. We gotta stand for what's right. We gotta do for the good, yeah. I don't know what y'all have heard. That surprise witness got the word. We don't believe in Scientology. I do not need your mind control on me. We don't need your conservative shifts, no. We doing right what's right for the kids. Whoa.
Y'all cannot control me. I control my own mind. You could've controlled me then. Still not in this lifetime. Can you send us down the pink angel from the heavens of truth? You don't want to debate with BJ. The studying law is what she do.